This is going to give you the ability to get as many cards as you want. If you want to be out here stacking, that's how they do it. Apply this information. Let's talk about that real quick. So what is credit card gardening? So you can see, you make sure everything is clear. It's when you refrain from applying to any credit card for a specific period of time. Normally, people say, oh, I'm in a garden for 6 months. I'm in a garden for the end of the year. It's basically when you applied for several credit cards, you've got to stop. You got to let the credit profile breathe. You don't want to look like you're going to every credit union, every bank. Yo, let me get an application here. I'll see like 15, 20 hard inquiries. I'm like, yo, half of these you didn't even get the card. Now you're trying to figure out how to remove the hard inquiries. If you would have just been patient, garden, you would have got everything that you wanted. So look, too many accounts is a red flag. I don't know if you see my video I did on FICO reason codes, but if you have too many recently opened credit card accounts, I don't care if your credit score is at 780. 800. Too many credit cards that's open in a short amount of time. Banks is like, they get nervous. They don't want to see that. They want to see time in between. They want to know you a little bit before you can start going on these application sprees. So you can see the little info right here. You prep the soil, you plant the seeds, you do some weeding, you tend to the garden. That weeding, this is the same period of time where you're disputing your account. So let's say you get 1 or 2 credit cards. You sit on those cards, but then you probably got a couple of collections that you might need to take care of. You might need to do a pay for delete a couple times. There's some things that you can be doing at the same time, right? Let's go to the next slide. This, I took the screenshot May 8th, 2023. What does it say? Fed survey. Banks are tightening up their lending standards after rate hikes. I did a video where CFPB last year was basically saying the nature of the financial space right now, banks are nervous, right? You saw what happened to the banks that closed down earlier this year. The Fed continually hiking up interest rates. People are talking about there might be a recession, right? You're hearing all this in the background. When the climate is like that, banks are not so eager to give people money, because if ish hits the fan, they don't want to be exposed like that. They don't want to just be having everybody just taking all their money, right? So this is just the psychology. This is the reason why I got this up. This is the psychology of the bank. If the banks are nervous, we got to approach them in a certain way to not scare them off, right? This is the headline from CNN. What's an example of this? You heard about Chase 524, right? Yeah. Or the 524 rule. What is this for the people that don't know? In this little red, I don't care if you got an 800 credit score. If you open up too many credit cards account, 5 in 24 months, in 2 years, and you go to Chase and say, Chase, dang, that Chase Sapphire Preferred is looking sexy. I want that. Let me holla at that. Chase is gonna be like, bro, I don't care what you talking about right now. You got too many accounts. I'm not dealing with you, bro. Sit down. Come back when you under the 524. Come back. Let those other accounts sit down. Then come holla at me. That's what Chase is talking about. This is a perfect example of why people call credit card gardening. It's the 1-2 punch. Yeah, the applications are nice, but you can't just be so thirsty. You don't want to be thirsty. And oh, by the way, most of the tier 1 banks, these are like the major grade A banks, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, US Bank. They don't typically have like a specific 524 rule, but they all got some variation of that. Of if you got more than like 4 within 6 months or 3 within 6 months, we start to see that the approval rates of credit cards start to go down, right? So we try to stay no more than 3 inquiries on a specific credit bureau, right? So funding sequence, I kind of hinted at this a little bit. So you want to plan out your funding sequence in advance and separate them by which bureau the bank pulls from. So when people get the stack, right, they boom on IG stunting, like they in 1980s with the Dookie Gold rope chain, boom. When they got that, you don't understand that not all the cards came from TransUnion. Not all the cards came from Equifax. Not all of them came from Experian. Some of them came from different places. So if I can hit TransUnion, or if I can hit a credit union or a bank that pulls from TransUnion, I can get maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 if I'm pushing it, and then I'll leave those other credit unions alone. Then I'm like, all right, which credit union, which bank pulls from Equifax? Maybe I can hit them up for maybe 2, 3, 4. Because remember, if they pull from Equifax, they don't see what I'm doing over at TransUnion. They don't see that. They don't see what I did with Experian. They just pull an Equifax. So I can run the bag up with TransUnion, but if I'm sticking with a bank that's pulling from Equifax, they only see my Equifax. So that's why I want to say you want to plan it out accordingly. Don't rush. Plan it out accordingly. Get a few from TransUnion, get a few from Equifax, get a few from Experian, right? Hopefully y'all catch what I'm saying. If you're not sure, because you might go online and somebody might say, oh, this bank over here, they pull from Equifax. And then somebody else says, that's crazy because they pulled my TransUnion. And you're like, wait, so hold on. I don't know. What you can do, if you know your Equifax is good and your TransUnion needs some work, go into your TransUnion, freeze that credit bureau. So if they try to pull from it, they don't get no data, right? Leave your Equifax open and then do your application. Use this as a strategy. Most people don't do this. Most people leave all their credit bureaus open. The wrong bureau gets pulled. And now they're like, oh man, I need an inquiry removal guide. Nah, just think ahead and you don't got to do all that. Right? Let's go to the next one. Experian. Now, again, don't take a screenshot of that and be like, oh, this is the Bible Money Coach told me that this is guaranteed. Now, depending on the region where you are at, banks can pull from usually 1 or 2 different bureaus. Typically, Experian, Chase likes Experian. That doesn't mean that Chase never looks at another bureau, but typically they mess with Experian. So if you're thinking that, okay, I want several credit cards. I need to make sure that, okay, Chase, and we just saw about the 524 rule, right? We just saw that. I want to make sure that I get Chase out the, my Chase application, I take care of that first. Because I know if I get 4, 5, 6 credit cards and then I go to Chase, what's going to happen? Denial. I'm not getting that Chase card. So you can see here, you need to be strategic. All right, Experian, if my Experian is good, let's say I'm fresh out of gardening phase. I've been chilling for like a year. Now I'm like, all right, it's time for me to run the bag up. I can hit Experian, I can get a Chase. We can get the Amex card. And I saw the video that you had with, the one inquiry pool for Amex, that play, that's consistent too, but we're not gonna go into that. Citibank is another one, right? So I can stop there and be like, all right, I'm gonna chill. TransUnion, maybe I can hit up Barclays. Let me see what US Bank got. You see how I got Capital One on every single one? That's because Capital One is a triple pool. That's why we don't like them. We like the ones that they pull on from one bureau. Right? And they be stingy with their credit limit increases. So Capital One, man, I got beef with y'all, man. So Equifax, Citibank, Truist, Capital One. So this is what I'm saying. So when you see people with the money stack, understand that a third of them are likely coming from one bureau. The other third, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how we do it. If you do it from this strategy, if you think ahead and figure out and plan it, write it down. All right, these are the cards I'm gonna go after. Now, the approval rates are gonna be 10 times higher than somebody that's just like, all right, I'm just gonna apply for everything I see. Oh, I got a pop-up alert from Amex. I'm gonna apply. Oh, I got a pop-up alert. Nah, don't do that. Be strategic with how you apply. This is how you do. And then once you do this, you get your cards, you sit back and you just chill. Now you're back in the gardening phase. Chill. You're not doing nothing. All you're doing is you may be looking at other products. You might be checking out what other guy, but there's no rush. And maybe in 6 months or maybe a year, you do the same thing again. Because remember, after 1 year, the inquiry is no longer impacting your credit profile, your score. And then after 2 years, the inquiries fall off completely. So you got to just be patient, and with time, you can get any card that you want. That's credit card gardening, and that's why you got to utilize it in your credit card application. So hopefully that makes sense.
Man.
Boom. 10 minutes, man.
Man, you just gave the whole play, man. You most definitely just gave the whole play on how people can do this, because I don't think people necessarily had a strategy. I don't even think they even knew that it was some type of strategy, right? And they was just kind of just, I won't say winging it, but just applying when they could, or applying when their score went up. And like you just broke down an entire science to waiting, then go here, then waiting, then go here. So guys, if anything I saw was patience, right? It's patience. So, but man, listen, you killed it. But listen, we know you got to run up out of here. But listen, before you go, are there any tips that you want to leave with the audience before we wrap up?
I'll say this as a piggyback, just to show you how much this is valuable. I want y'all to Google credit funding company. I just want you to Google that. And I want you to look at the prices that they charge. There are people out there, and there's no knock to them. There are people and companies out there, they'll do this for you. They've already done their research. They know who pulls from who, boom, 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 boom. They know the managers at the bank, they know all that. So you come to them, they'll help you get all this, but then they'll take a percentage, right? So let's say I did a funding play and I got 100K. Because they helped me, they take 8% off the top. 8K just went to the person that helped me. So, and again, I'm not knocking them. You can use them if you understand what it is. But if you understand what banks are pulling from who's doing what, if you understand that, you're going to be saving yourself tons and tons of money. People are paying tens of thousands of dollars for this information. Learn it yourself, man. This information is out there. That's it. Yeah.
Listen, he said the information is out there, but thanks to Joel, listen, he just shortens you guys' learning curve, okay? And so listen, Joel talks about this stuff all the time. On his YouTube channel, guys. So you most definitely want to make sure that you go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. And then here's the thing, guys, you need to have your credit score at a certain point in order to qualify for a lot of these credit cards. So listen, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys look to become a YouTube membership on the 850 Club channel, or look at our advanced credit blueprint to help you guys improve your credit score the right way, guys. Otherwise, none of this information is going to mean anything if you don't meet the qualifications. Am I right about that, Joel?
Facts. You preaching, bro. You preaching. Hopefully they get caught it. Hopefully they caught it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Thanks again for stopping by. We greatly appreciate you.
50 y'all. Appreciate y'all.